We are ready to get underway with his last 16 match, but he's going to have to sit and wait, as it is Craig Waddingham, the Champions League champion, that gets us going, but he gets us going with a dry break, so the bouncer will get the first opportunity here. First glance, I think it's a pretty good one as well.
He has a pretty good break, not expecting to get too many opportunities from Craig's break. It's the trouble though, when you have a good break, you split them up nicely. If nothing goes in, do leave it for your opponent. Only really the one red that's tied up at all, the one in amongst the cluster of yellows on the left hand side of the table. That could be negotiated. The yellow's also pretty open, so just whichever he fancies really. This is a great first visit, first frame opportunity. You always just want to kind of get in and pot a few balls. Maybe that all of these yellows pot cleanly without needing to move them. Even if not, easy enough to nudge from one into another. Got to say, on paper, Craig Waddingham starts as the slight favourite, but only really the consistency that we were talking about earlier on his day. Fitzsimmons more than capable of beating anyone. And it's kind of nice to have players like that. Obviously, the real consistency of your Phil Harrisons and the guys at the top of the table, nice to see, but something quite entertaining from our perspective about people that can be great but aren't necessarily going to do it every day, because you never quite know what the outcome's going to be. I mean, I wouldn't put Si in the category of he's not a sort of erratic player, but it's just this level, it's very hard to bring your best all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's hours of dedication, really. Sometimes that's hard to find. It is a perfect opportunity to get going in the opening frame of a match, though. Get a feel for the table. With most shots he's going to play in this visit, it's going to have a little bit of margin of error in it.
Yeah, and actually it looks like all the balls did pot. He hasn't had to play any cannons in the end, so it's made it even easier, taking the risk out of it for him. Just taking his time to make absolutely sure of this route. Just want to be precise for your first frame, take the chance. We've seen so many great matchups this weekend, like match after match. You're just looking at it thinking this could so easily be a much later round than it actually is. You see a lot of pool today, of course, playing all the way down to a final tonight. Got the ladies pro final followed by the men's final on the main arena table, and all the coverage of the rounds in between. So, good break from Craig Waddingham and everything other than potting a ball. And Si Fitzsimmons very happy to take what's offered to him.
Louisiana Open in April. The bouncer has a huge break, he really does. And he comes up with one here. I don't think he hit it anywhere near his best either. He got a lot of side on this one. Yeah, he didn't catch it, but it's still big. He still made a ball.
Yeah, and actually he's got a pretty good split as well. Couple of bits of traffic, the 8 ball tied up near this yellow at the bottom. Other than that though, the ball's quite well spread around the table. So yellow's his choice.
So he could have played yellow off yellow there, so that tells us there's just enough room to clip this one in. He will not want to leave it late. Could play it now if he's got the right gap. Should play it now if he's got the right gap.
Yeah, it's a good ball to get out of the way, even though it's near the 8 ball. It would be no good to try and play it as a last ball, so he wants to get it out of the way and then get back up the table. That was a nicely controlled shot. It's thin, it's very easy to lose the white, but just playing with a bit of drag to slow the pace up. Always a nice chance when you've got the first frame on the board, immediate chance to build on it. Tends to be the momentum you get at this kind of level. One mistake can cost you a couple of frames. And the mistake from Craig was no more than a dry break. All of these balls do have a pocket. The yellow that's on the break line can obviously be potted top right, obstructed to one pocket by the red, but that shouldn't pose a problem. And actually the balls link up pretty well. When you've got a ball on the left cushion like this, it's very handy having a ball near the middle. It helps you get perfectly on it. So left centre, ball up the rail, and then the ball across to the other ball pocket. Nothing to do with these 3 balls, just needs to make sure he leaves an angle on the last yellow, which will be the one nearest the baulk cushion, just to come down for the 8 ball. Anything but straight here. You can choose to, depending on the angle, either run through and leave the white on the cushion, or just try and leave an angle this way.
Gets to that top cushion to guarantee not straight, and now pick which way round he wants to go, but he's got plenty of room.
Wow, that red was always going to play big, just trying to come past it. Felt like maybe there was more room behind it than in front of it. You could see from his body language he was just hoping it was going to be a thinner clip than that, but just dealt a glancing blow that's knocked him right out of position. A little bit careless, there was traffic, but that was a very makeable positional shot. So he's going to have to come off one cushion and try and make this black. Oh, great shot. Got himself in trouble there, but got himself out of it as well. And in the end, almost a better way to win the frame, because Craig Waddingham sitting in his chair thinking, surely I'm coming back to the table, and then Fitzsimmons comes out with this.
Yeah, how about that? Absolute dagger, really, for Craig. He would have fully expected to come and get his first frame on the board.
Tough school this. Craig Waddingham's broken dry once, and that's all he's done wrong. He even won the lag, so literally just that one error on the break.
Well, this time they all fly in. How about that for a break? And maybe the best break of the weekend.
Yeah, a bit of added venom, the fact he's been kept away from the table.
How dare you not let me have a chance at the table?
This is what we're used to. He hits the break so well. See the quality of the strike as well. It wasn't just the pace, but the cue ball tracking back in a straight line.
Well, it's made 3, but he had one rattle that should have dropped as well.
So upgraded his nickname for this season. Was just previously known as Wad, but seems to be debuting a new name.
Yeah. I did notice that earlier on this weekend, actually. Yeah, it's a new one on me. Why not? Silver Sniper. Really good chance this. Pretty much nothing really in the way. He just needs to be careful on getting on the one below the 8 ball, but there's no real issues with that. Could be on it now, but just come back to be on it would be better.
Great break, and made to look very straightforward afterwards. It's going to be a quick fire game if it carries on like this. Craig's someone that never looks that fazed by the situation either. The fact the other guy's rattled off a couple, he just comes to the table, smashes the break in, and then the rest of the balls to follow.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic with that sort of stuff. Actually quietly got a very good temperament the way he goes about it. It's just, okay, it's my turn at the table, right, I'm going to take these out, and doesn't really care how he does it or what it looks like. He just goes about his business.
Someone you almost never see miss a ball, as you say, quite often leaves himself at much more distance, and you're thinking, does he want to make that a bit easier? But often he doesn't, and it doesn't matter to him. So we see a disastrous outcome for Sai. Screwed the cue ball straight back into the corner pocket.
Yeah, straight in. Not good, that one.
That's what happens when you get slightly off centre.
Yeah. was going to say he mishit both of his first 2 breaks. I know the first one turned into a break clearance, but he did mishit the break, so not good signs at the start of the match for Simon.
No, I mean, he's got so much raw power. You know he's always going to get quite a big hit on the ball, but actually the precision of that front ball strike is almost more important. I mean, certainly the players with the really good breaks, like, you know, the likes of Tom Cousins, although he's known for the power, actually, if you watch the consistency of the front ball strike, that's why they split out so well. And this is a great chance to level up. Craig was frozen away for 2 frames. Now it looks like he's going to return the favour. You feel that that's likely to be the pattern of this game. One mistake could easily cost you a couple of frames. Both so good at clearing from the break, whether it's theirs or their opponents. So we're going to continue the visit of a lot of the pattern, rather, of a lot of first visit stuff.
Well, it'll be all 4, won't it, if he gets this? I think there's many more to come. That's how they go about it. So effortless. I mean, it wasn't the most difficult of clearances, but it's just inspires so much confidence. You don't imagine for a moment he's about to miss anything. So, just over 10 minutes down, 2 frames apiece, 4 first visit clearances. So the last break was a work of art. Can he repeat that? Don't feel quite as explosive a break, but the result's almost as good. Ball scattered far and wide around the table. Not quite as straight a connection if you're being ultra critical when you see the white squirting off to the side like that, but still the quality of the strike was good enough. Yellow's pretty well located here. They decide to take the difficult one down the rail first. And they'll just be left with that one at the top of the table. Everything else pretty well joined together up this end. Yeah, that one at the top though is well guarded. He will need to play a good shot for it.
He hasn't got a perfect ball either to get up for it. It's kind of a natural target because he can just play for the middle of the top cushion. So he has done the difficult bit, which was to get up at the top of the table and retrieve that yellow. Now his prize for that reasonably straightforward position, just to clear up at this end. You see lots of matches in the Pro Series when people say how many there were from the break, but I mean, what a standard this has been. It's 5 from 5 so far. It's been a good performance from Sean, because Jordan was looking in much better touch in the second tournament than he had in the first.
Also means that all 4 top seeds are out by the last 16 stage again.
It is a tough score.
Yeah.
Especially when you see those 4 names. I mean, those are the top of the top. Obviously people have different preferences, but from a neutral's point of view, I guess it is nice to see some different players getting their moment in the limelight. Could this pattern continue of 6 from the break? Fitzsimmons is certainly hoping not, because he'll only have got 2 of the 6 if that is the case. Undoubtedly the frames on Craig is the most dangerous are these kind of open attacking positions. He's a pretty astute player, so he knows how to mix it in a tactical game, but it's not something he needs to get involved with very often. Going to take the more difficult one down the rail. If he wasn't queuing over a ball, this would be an absolute formality. Just got to take a bit of care when you're digging down on it. It's another textbook piece of queuing. So easy when you're coming over a ball like that just to flick a bit of side, and that's often a recipe for disaster when playing down the rails, but navigated that nicely. Just trying to force an angle. Ideally wanted to just come just below the centre of the table to get up for the last ball, but should still be okay.
I think he could end up with a tough 8 ball here. Don't know if he can miss the red. And if he can't, he could end up with a cue ball kind of... Well, if it hits the red, it could flick to the right-hand side. So rather than risking it, you could end up sticking on it. Do you think he can screw past it and come round 2? No, he used the red on purpose.
I mean, that shot looked great. It was fraught with some danger. When you use a ball like that, that white was flying off in a fairly uncontrolled way.
Yeah, it was really well controlled. It was a much, much better shot than it looked. Oh, but that isn't. First mistake in the match. Where's that come from?
Yeah, where has that come from? Because he's played so flawlessly. He didn't for a moment think that he was going to miss that ball.
Big shake of the head. Not sure he can quite believe he's just missed that.
People miss balls for different reasons. That one did feel like one where he just felt like he'd done the hard work and just almost took his eye off it. I mean, he's such a good cueist. I mean, he may feel like he got a slightly heavy contact, but I think he missed it by further than the contact alone would have led to. Wow. Simon Fitzsimmons, what have you done there?
Has he left it?
If he has left it, it's wafer thin. It's also awkward. I mean, it's one thing if you can get your hand on the table and a clear line at the cue ball, but queuing down, it's even harder to pick this kind of shot out. Can he go for the attacking option? Yes, he can. What a great double from Craig Waddingham.
What a let-off as well. Missed the 8 ball originally and not punished. Not much room. How close to each red does he get here? Like guidelines, isn't it? Like you have to shave one and then the other and you'll get it. Took a while for a ball to drop in this time, but in it drops, and another nice split. You feel he's going to want the reds here. I think he's got a good opener and a good way around these. Yeah, so much so he's playing very quickly.
It's usually a pretty good guide to how easy a finish is. Craig's a pretty quick player anyway, but like everyone, accelerates when the finish is straightforward and he can see the path. Shows how accurately you hit that. You only put both balls in that kind of plant if you hit the dead centre of the first one. Either outcome was okay there really. If the ball stays over the middle pocket, that's fine. It's not a problem that it's gone in particularly. Just got to play one shot through the gap between the 8 ball and the yellow on the right hand side, or screw straight back. Goes up the right hand side. Two balls at the top of the table and then down for the one in the middle last. I think that missed 8 ball in the last frame will be a bit of a warning sign for Craig. It wasn't missed because he was under pressure or nervous or anything. It was just took his eye off it. It'll just be a reminder that he needs to keep focused on this match.
He's pretty good at just kind of brushing aside the few mistakes he does make.
Such an important characteristic, that, and a very underrated one. So, normal service resumed again, 5-2 now. So, important break this for Simon. A lot of power, quite the perfect accuracy. Did just come across the front ball a little bit.
Obviously, I spent some time with Simon at the club he practices from, and on the way up here to Blackpool, and we saw that interview. And as big as his break is, he was very frustrated when we had a couple of frames together, and he was just really, really frustrated with how his break was going. And you saw that there. He wanted to launch his cue after this dry break.
I think he's got one of those breaks that's so powerful you probably can't quite understand why he's not potting, but I think unfortunately the reality is that you've got to achieve 100% accuracy. You can't just slip off the side of the front ball of the pack. I mean, it's so much easier said than done. Like, all these top players are such accurate cueists, it's not like it's not occurring to them to hit the break straight.
Yeah, exactly. Is he on the red? Oh, it's tight.
Yeah, played for the one on the break line.
So it looks okay, looks happy with it. It doesn't look like he's on it to the camera angle. Oh, he's going to have to bend it. Yeah, he was okay. He was okay, just.
Yeah, well judged shot, because it wasn't just a case of potting that. He wanted to drift the white over to the right hand side, because then he can run this ball left centre and pick his position for the balls on the left hand side of the table. Like all the top players, he has a very instinctive pool brain. He just knows the right shots to play. Very clever the way he goes about finishes. Brushing the cushion, but played at pocket weight, so always likely to drop. Knows that Sai could so easily get back into this match if given a chance. Just wants to keep punching at him. If he could get himself onto the hill with a full frame cushion, it'd be such a comfortable spot to be in. It's just come far enough there. Wants an angle to drift up, which is left. A couple of positional shots there that were better than they looked, because if you don't quite leave the right angle there, it's actually quite hard to get on the 8 ball. Just judged it nicely. Wow. Not what we've seen earlier on. Cue ball driving to the top left-hand corner pocket. Just got across that one slightly. It's a bad connection, but just not quite straight on the front ball. You're playing with that much pace, you don't have to be very far off for the error to be amplified. Absolute last chance now for Simon. Got to make the clearance from this position, and then got to hope that he can find a way back into the match. Not a bad position this. He's got the issue of the yellow and red together in the middle of the table. Not completely covering it, but just obstructing the red. And then he's going to have to find a way to deal with the 8 ball on the red that's tied up together. Nearly went a bit astray. Didn't really want that ball moved from over the right-hand centre. That was quite a useful ball to him. He'll be glad that stayed on the table. He could have done with it where it was. It was actually in a perfect position had he needed to use it to break out the 8 ball later on. Just looking at whether the red that's next to the yellow that's nearest to the cue ball now goes to the bottom left corner. I don't know that that was how he'd played it, because he's giving it a very hard look, but if he could find a way through that gap, that would make life much easier for him. Well, he could find a way through that gap, and that's made the finish a whole lot easier. Just got the one issue now of the 8 ball and red.
Yeah, he's got the obvious way of doing it, but just got to be careful with it. The chance of him not being on a ball after this is quite low. Bottom cushion, maybe half ball the 8 ball would be perfect. Really surprised at the pace he's played that at. I Thought he might go a bit more precise, but it's come out okay. He'd rather have been on the bottom one than the middle one, but at least he's on it.
Seems strange to say, but that one that's at the bottom of the table is actually a bit of a pain, even though it's hanging over the pocket. He's going to now have to do a bit more travelling with the white to clear these remaining balls. Still obviously happy enough with this position. It looks fairly elementary when you look at it. It's got a ball over 3 right-hand side pockets. That's not a bad shot. The fact he's knocked the black towards the corner pocket just makes the positional shot onto it easier. He's also got a natural path, just wants to come up the right-hand side of the table. There's actually quite a big path through here, big area to land in.
Oh, it nearly didn't though. That was a very surprising positional shot from Simon.
Yeah, he's got down quickly though, there was never a problem, but he's been a bit nervous for a moment there. Definitely didn't need to be flirting with the yellow ball.
Yeah, surprisingly, very, very solid at it, but unfortunately 2/10 slower than Phil Harrison is not good. Oh no, no.
Oh, that's a calamitous outcome. Cue ball off the table, so ball in hand anywhere. It doesn't have to be behind the break line. You don't see this very often, do you? So obviously just put that little bit extra into it and go on airborne.
Yeah, what damage done. Yellow and red together on the left-hand side. Is there enough room to get to the yellow? If so, then yellows look pretty good, but the yellow near right centre may be blocked off. So maybe short position on the red, and then reds are the order of the day, because the red on the left-hand side, there's a perfect breakable into the left centre pocket.
Simon sits in his chair. He knows the magnitude of this task is just getting bigger and bigger. It's turned out okay for Craig.
When it was tracking to the bottom cushion, I thought that might be a problem. I think the 8 ball now becomes a problem, because he's going to be dealing with the 8 ball from the top of the table. I wonder if he's got an angle here to top through and move the yellow just below the 8 ball. Maybe no, he's too straight. It would have left him thin on the one at the bottom, but it would have made the back end of the finish a little bit better.
Yeah, the back end of the finish wouldn't have been so bad if he had a ball down this end, but he's going to have to play the one along the bottom rail now and go up for the 2 at the top of the table. So, as you say, he's going to have to come at it from the wrong side.
He did have a glance on the way round to see whether the 8 ball went into the bottom left-hand corner pocket. Obviously goes right centre, the most obvious. Yeah, where he's pointing his cue there, that's the biggest window. There is room to get to it left centre as well, but he won't play for it in that pocket unless he absolutely has to. Close enough to the pocket, and I think he's got enough angle, he can do pretty much whatever he wants here. Yeah, he's got just enough.
Yeah, it's kind of ideal. It's one of those angles that you can make a range of shots from. 2 shots away potentially from getting this match finished. Getting himself tucked up safely in the quarter-final lineup. Well, he has played for it in the right centre, and that's gone a little astray.
He can just see it, which means he can just make it.
The cue ball will be okay. It will be flying around the table, but it's not naturally heading to a pocket, so it should be okay on that side of things.
And it drops. What a match. What a performance, really. Just that one missed pot. Inexplicably missed pot as well, but brilliant performance from both, really. But it is Craig Waddingham that takes out a ton of first visit finishes, and he moves on. He's into another Pro Series quarter-finals. Stay with us. Plenty more action on the way.